Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to the program, The Racism Conversation. The racism conversation came as a result of the death of George Floyd on the 25th of May 2020. After his death, we realized that it was so important to have a continuous conversation on the subject of racism. And as time goes on, we bring also new other aspect to the work. We develop new methods, and so that we can be able to have a much more diversified conversation. Today, we are not going to limit only on racism, but we want to actually find out how we can cooperate, collaborate, work together despite racism, tribalism, or again, our differences, which means that we have to be very conscious and purposeful of our working together. We're going to come back, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned, invite your friends, invite your family, because this is a very important conversation for us today as the diaspora, as Africans, so that we should be able to achieve that agenda, the Africa we want. And this can be done if we come work together. Invite your friends, and let's have a very good conversation today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. This is the Sumpon Global TV, a platform that we have organized so that we can meet time and again to have conversations that can equip us, that can empower us, that can inspire us, so that we can be and become the very people we desire to be. Welcome with me today, Maxwell Manza, who is going to be talking collaboration and cooperation. Welcome also with me today, Mr. Elvis Bolifor, who is actually working also with the Sumpon Global TV. And today our conversation is on collaboration and networking despite every odds, despite the challenges, despite our differences, despite racism, despite tribalism. It really doesn't matter what the despite may be. We want to know and understand today how we can properly, purposefully work together, collaborate together for a common good and for the common interest of the community. I welcome you, sis. How are you, Mr. Boli for Elvis?
I'm doing great, ma'am. It's a pleasure to be on with you.
It's always a privilege to have you, Elvis, and thank you for being here. Maxwell, you're welcome. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. It's my pleasure to be on this rich program.
It's always a privilege to have all these amazing people working with them and working together. And our conversation today is on collaboration, networking, despite tribalism, despite racism, and despite every other zms, including our differences, right? So I want to begin with you, Mr. Bonnie for Elvis. Tell us a little more about yourself
Yes, ma'am.
and how you collaborate with the Sumpon Global TV.
Thank you very much again for giving me the floor to talk about myself and my program. I am Bolifo Elvis Ambi, the moderator for the debate on Some Point Global TV, and our program comes up every Monday at 6 p.m. Cameroon time, of course, 7 p.m. German time. I'm a facilitator. I work with the Ministry of Education, Secondary Education, of course, and equally Dean of Studies, taking care of the curricular activities of students. And talking about the debate, which is a topic that comes, a program that comes up every Monday. Uh, I equally had to get to be versed with the Agenda 2063 when I started running this program. And so, what is motivating me actually is getting the youth
We're going to get back to you again, Mr. Bolifor, and hoping that your network is going to be um, doing us some good. While Mr. Bolifor is coming up because of the network that is having challenges in Cameroon, Mr. Bolifor Elvis is a facilitator in Cameroon, and he's have been doing an amazing work also with the debate, and it has been a very fruitful collaboration. And so now I want to come back to you, Maxwell. We're talking today about collaborating, and we just got to know each other. It's not long, and the Sampan Global TV has the intention to collaborate with many people, to be an example of the fact that collaborations can really function, to be an example of the fact that we can really succeed in networking if we desire to network. Tell us a little more about who you are, what is your program, how you intend to do it, why did you accept to collaborate with the Sampan Global TV? Because you could choose to say no. You have to unmute yourself.
Hi viewers, my name is Amaiza Maxwell. I'm a student. I'm based in Zambia. So my program will be talk to the doctor. So this is the program that will be running on a Sunday, 9 p.m. That's Zambian time or German time. So we are to the masses, the public. We know it's not everyone who can achieve or who can have access to good health or to reach maybe the hospitals. But with the coming of this program, people may access the information. They may access the information that they may need, to make a decision whether to go to the hospital or to consult from their doctors. So it's not a curative medicine, but is some kind of preventive medicine where you put that information out to the public, and people should be able to learn one or two things about their healthy. So in a nutshell, that's a program that will be running on Sompon Global TV starting this October. The date will be communicated to, but it will be running from Sunday 9 p.m. That's German time and 9 p.m. Zambian time.
Thank you so very much. I suppose, Mr. Bolifor, you're back. You
I
had
am
the
sorry, we
network
have
with
heavy
you.
rains. Yeah, we have heavy rains here, and the network is so unstable. So I got lost. I was talking about the debate, and I said it's a program that comes up every Monday, 7 p.m. German time. And I think our motivation is to get youths informed about this agenda, because by that time, most of our fathers, our mothers will no more be there. So as we are going to be the ones to, maneuver and manipulate all what will be obtained to read before that time, I think it is time for youth to be informed and equally motivated to join the program and equally bring up topics. Let's see what has been done properly, what has not been done at all, and what is being done wrongly, so that we can correct already and make Africa what we want it to be. We still have many youths who are not even aware. I worked with a number of youths of late, and I discovered that many were asking what actually is that, but they are on network, on internet every day. So I think this platform is going to help the youths to be able to know about the Agenda 2063 and know equally that it is their agenda and they have to work towards that to achieve the Africa that they want.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Bolifor. Today, our conversation is not really on your debate or your programs, but on the idea and on the fact that we have to collaborate. Today, we are talking about collaboration, networking, despite all odds, despite tribalism, despite racism, and despite our differences. We have observed in the community, or personally, I observe a lot, and I have observed in the community that we talk a lot negatively about the fact that it is difficult to cohabit, to work together, to collaborate together, and to network together. And today I said we should not talk about the difficulties because we know that the difficulties exist already. And my challenge today was to come out with the how we can work together and how we can collaborate together. Mr. Boliform, tell us in a few words, step by step, how can we collaborate together in our community, especially so that we can move the agenda forward.
Thank you. When I got the topic even for today, I was saying that part of the answer was already found in a topic where we talked of networking. And so to collaborate together, we have to begin by connecting ourselves together and finding that common goal or that interest that we can have together and see how we can help ourselves when we find actually the common goal. We have differences, of course, which are abound, and many people always want their people to be at particular positions. And so when you mix, work and familiarity, sometimes you get it all wrong because the person you may want or prefer to occupy a particular position because of other interests may not be so qualified. So we need to connect, find a common interest, and equally get people who are qualified to do the job that we want to do, to be at the positions that they have to be. We convince ourselves to looking towards the same direction because you can still connect, but you are not convinced actually of what you want to do, and collaboration will not be, very, very okay because you are not working in the same or on the same wavelength and you don't have the common interest. And again, we are going to use collaboration in answering the question because in collaboration, what do? We have to look for new means or new avenues where we can expand what we want to do and see how we can project what we want to do in future and see if we apply this principle, what are we going to have 5 years, 10 years when we start collaborating together. And so that is a small technique that we could use to be able to move forward. And equally, see how our services can be of help. We can connect, no doubt, but you find out that my service doesn't help you or solve any problem in your company, and it becomes a waste. We have connected, we have convinced ourselves, but we are not getting the dividends that we want to get from our collaboration or our networking. And so we need to have common interests, like I said already, and now be able to solve our problems. One, it should be a symbiotic, relationship where each person gains, not a parasitic relationship where one person is gaining and the other person is dying down. So that is how I think that we can work together, connect, convince ourselves, and network together.
Connect, convince ourselves, and not work together. So someone said we have to learn
Yes.
how to trust one another. So, and now you're saying connecting, convincing ourselves, and to work together. I'll come back to you, Mr. Bolifor, because I have lots of tons of questions on the wonderful pitch you just gave them. Maxwell, let us know, give us a step by step how collaboration can function.
Collaboration is very important in that no man is an island, so they say. You can't do everything by yourself. So you need a brother, you need someone to work with. However, working with people or collaborating is not an easy thing. But if two or three people come together with a common goal, let's say they've got the same interest at heart, they've got the same objectives they want to achieve, then collaboration becomes easy because you both pull in the same direction. Um, eh, it's sometimes what usually happens in collaboration or in partnership is that, people, as Mr. Boyf has put it, others would just want to benefit from someone's work. They don't want to put in so much work in it. So for collaboration to work, there's supposed to be an equal input. You have to put the equal half, and the other person put the equal half. In that way, collaboration will thrive. So I think that's it's about working towards a common goal. In short.
Mhm.
I like that. He says it's about working towards a common goal. I had a very interesting conversation some few days back, and someone was telling me, "Oh, Africans really have it difficult working with one another." And when he was saying these things, and I was like, I'm not sure that it's an African challenge or an African obstacle or an African distraction. I've chosen not to use the word problems these days because I think that it only gives me a very bad feeling. So I choose to use, instead of problems, I choose to use distractions, obstacles, and all that. So I said no. I don't think it's an African obstacle or an African challenge, or again an African distraction. It is a human distraction, and which means that if the human is not has not trusted you enough, um, they won't want to work with you, right? And now the question would be, how can we build trust so that we can possibly work together, because we know that we all want to work together. I have hardly met someone who said, I don't want to work with anybody. I've hardly met someone. And we all know the advantages of working together. We know how resourceful that is. We know the blessings that comes with working together. Yet we have it hard getting through it, breaking through those obstacles. Now, the question is, how do we create an atmosphere of confidence, trust, so that we can possibly work together? Mr.
Uh,
Bolifor, you can answer.
Yes, I wanted to take that one, and I will begin maybe with an example or is an anecdote. You find somebody or the boss or the manager of a company or the proprietor or the CEO wanting to do everything. At the end of the day, you discover that nobody wants to put in much because, after all, the boss does everything. And I want to think that we can build trust by delegating functions to individuals who are competent in your establishment, and appreciating, because sometimes you delegate work, the work is well done, but because of your ego you think that no, nobody can do this thing more than me, and so you don't trust that your collaborators can put in or give in anything positive, and so it becomes difficult when you do like that. In any way that you want everything to be done, sometimes they will see something going wrong and they will not do because you don't trust that they can do it correctly, and so it really dwindles down to work not being well done, whereas there are people who can do it. I think delegating functions can actually gain trust in a company, because when I know that I will be challenged by being delegated to do a particular function, I equally want to impress my boss and do the job correctly and well too. So I think for me, I take delegation will yield much trust in an establishment.
Now, and let me just keep the conversation with you first rolling.
Mhm.
You said delegation will build trust. I find it's
Yeah.
very important now, but I still have a challenge on that. Or again, I see some obstacles in that, because um, we can only delegate when we trust, or say they can only delegate when they trust. And now you said delegation will build more trust, which makes it now again for the company owner to very difficult, because one, he has to learn, or she has to learn to give out, so to delegate, and
Mhm.
then but she has to, or he has to know how to trust that person. And now it means he has to first of all learn to trust himself before being able to trust the other person to delegate to the other person. Because if delegation is so important, and he doesn't trust you, how does he really delegate that work to you?
It begins from
To
somewhere.
the colleague, to the collaborators, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you have people you're working with, and you have actually taken them in so that the work is well done, or the work is done. And so you must begin from somewhere. You may think that you have a very expensive machine that only you can operate. Now, people are working with you and they are qualified in that domain. When you don't allow them to even touch or go through the machine, how will you ever know even that they know how to work on that machine? So you must
Beautiful.
begin from somewhere. If you don't
Beautiful.
trust and you cannot give out or release some of the power, decentralize the powers and what you have to do to other people, you cannot trust. You will always begin from somewhere. You're not born knowing everybody. You know people as the days go by, and you trust them by what they can do and
I
what they
like
offer.
this. I like this. We're going to come back to that. We know people as the day goes by. So actually, you're not born to know everybody at the same time. So as the day goes by, we get to learn to know people. This one was a beautiful one. Maxwell, we know that we want to work together, and there is this common adage that say, "United we stand,
Stand.
all right,
Mhm.
and divided we fall." And now Mr. Bolifor was talking in terms of the partners or collaboration in the same company. Now we want to talk about the collaboration with other companies, other institutions, and other organs or other individuals that are not really in the same structure. How can we really help build trust so that we can be able to work collaborating with other companies and other institutions?
Unmute your
People
microphone.
say trust.
Okay.
You can get me now. It's unmuted.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
Okay.
okay.
So yeah. So people say trust is end. I'll go for that. Trust is end. You don't just gain trust from the blues from nowhere. So the little things that you do, they matter in someone's life or in someone's, let's say, company, or maybe at your workplace. You know, just simple things. If you are delegated, as Mr. Mboifo has put it, you are given just a little job to do, and then maybe you are lazy about it or you don't do it to the expectation. Next time, your manager or your boss won't give you that task, or won't allow you to be the head of that company, or maybe representing him, because he knows you don't have even interest at it. you know so trust is really earned. The simple things. Someone cannot give you a bigger thing before trying you on simple things. So maybe sometimes what even like companies do before they promote someone, they would maybe give them a much simpler role to play. And if they know that they have observed that this person is competent in handling this simple role, they'll have that trust to say, even if we elevate him maybe to the CEO or to the manager or anything, he'll be able to handle it because he managed the simpler things. Just the same even in the um, the story in the Bible to the Christians. you know the other person was given is it one coin, the other one was given five, and so it all goes back to abilities, what you are able to do with what you're trusted with. Someone can give you a coin, then you don't make use of it. Next time they'll tell you to say, no, we gave you this and it didn't work. Even if we give you the bigger thing, you still fail. So really, trust is earned. It's not just, someone won't just come and say, no, I trust you, we can handle this. They really need to have a proof. You really need to prove yourself that you can do something before you are given the much trust that you need.
I like this. I mean,
I
the conversation is really interesting. He says trust must be earned. Mr. Bolifor, you want to say something? You can go on, Mr. Bolifo. I have the impression you want to say something. Am I assuming
I,
wrongly? Okay. I think he has a net. I want to suspect that he has a network challenge. Now we continue the conversation,
Yes.
Maxwell. We have Millie. Millie, thank you for being there. Thank you for watching and thank you for your contributions. Millie says trust comes with communication too. How true is this? And how can we implement this in collaborating with other instruments and institutions that are not really in the very organs by which you are working?
Thank you so much, Millie. It's true. There should be communication for someone to trust you. I think maybe let's say two companies that want to work together. Let's say the other company maybe is into, maybe they're selling iron sheets, and then the other company, they are the builders. Okay, they build houses, and the other company sells iron sheets. So for them to work together, they need to communicate, and then it's not just communication. The communication should be effective, and then there shouldn't be lapses in between. Communication is a two-way thing. They define communication as the information should be sent to the receiver, and then it's supposed also to go back to the sender. So it's supposed to be a two-way thing. It can only work if, for example, if the builder wants some iron sheets from a company that supplies the iron sheet. They say, no, okay, we need this by Friday. Then the company that sells iron sheets bring the iron sheets the other week on a Wednesday. So it means that there is no effective communication in there, and they can't collaborate. They can't work together.
Thank you so very much, Maxwell. This is an amazing conversation. Thank you also, Millie, for that information that you've given to us. Also, I think it's very important to understand the role of trust, the role of integrity, the role of communication, and of course, Maxwell, you said trust is being earned. So you don't just get up in the morning and just get trust. And so therefore, if organizations have to work together, then they must have to earn the trust to work together. So we don't just get up from the bruise and from one bush and come together and say, oh, let's do work together because we think we are all we just want to work together, right? And then we also said that, and still in the conversation, we said that it's important to have a common goal or common purpose so that collaboration should properly function. Now, I stay on collaboration because I want it to be a conversation between two institutions or two individuals from different structures. Now, and one of my observation in the community is that usually people don't look at people in terms of institutions, but usually in terms of individuals. So I take an example. When we talk about Vera Sampon or Sampon Social Service, then those see, for example, Vera Sampon. But then Vera Sampon is not the institution, Sampon Social Service. She may be the founder, she may be the CEO, but she is not, in other words, one can say, not Sampon Social Service, because Sampon Social Service is an institution with many other people in it. And I have the impression that because we fail to understand that we are dealing with an institution, we want to put the individuals in front, and it makes a whole lot of causes a whole lot of trouble because we become very personal. Do you think this the identity, personality, emotions also has caused a lot of friction in collaborating with one another?
Yeah, I think collaboration requires having common goals or like objectives. I'll give an example. If we want to, if like two people want to run a business, we must have objectives. Okay, what do we want? How are we going to achieve this? You know. So if the other person is not putting in as much as I'm putting, I'll opt out. Just like if the other person is putting more than I'm putting, then that person is also going to opt out. So really, you really need to attach emotion to what you want to do, what you want to achieve, and how you are going to achieve it. That's my take on that one.
Okay. My next question would be to find out if you opt out, what can be what should that person do, or what could the other partner do, so that opting out should not always be the option, because that's exactly what we are talking about. We don't want to be opting out all the time, but we really want to understand how to work together. I am in Germany at the moment, and I always notice the political parties, they have diverse opinions, they have different
Mhm.
point of views. Yet, during the time of coalitions, they come together for a common goal. So our concern is not just bringing the emotions that the negative emotions that distrain the one common goal, but being able to overcome these emotions. Because if it is possible here where we live, then we can equally say it is possible everywhere. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yes. I think it's a vision between the two people that are trying to get into some business, you know. So if you have got an agenda, you have got a vision, you know, you are looking up to something big that you want to achieve. You really need to put the objectives together and maybe adjusting on some things. Also, you need to communicate effectively. What does the other partner want? How are we going to go about this? I think there should be that, you know, consulting each other on how to go about things. It's not just supposed to be
That
a one-man show.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
This is so important. The consulting together. It means that we are not just having to do every paperwork and then just get someone involved. Maxwell, I want you to come here, get involved, and do this and do that. So we have to consult one another, and we have to, if need be, come up with some drafts or some transparency in what we actually want to achieve and want to do. Mr. Bolly, for your welcome back.
The rain is playing a fast one on me. Network is on and off.
But I'm happy that you're back, and we have been having the conversation that usually emotions tamper also with the collaborating, and we want to find ways possible to collaborate despite also those emotions. And because we don't just want to be saying that it is difficult to work together, but we want to stand on the point that we can work together, because, like, I know what you think, your thoughts becomes your feelings, and your feelings becomes your action. So these days I'm becoming more empowering, so I'm taking the standard of the empowerment standard to say no. I prefer to believe that we can work together, and I know we can work together because we have worked with amazing other organizations together for a common goal. So to you, Mr. Elvis, how can we overcome these emotions, these negative emotions that comes to temper with collaborating together for a common interest?
And we already made mention of trust. You bear with me that some managers, some bosses are always so emotional because sometimes it's equally inferiority complex. You surely are working with somebody who is more qualified than you, but you are occupying a higher position, and that anxiety comes in. You don't want to be corrected. You feel irritated anytime your collaborator says something. I think to overcome the idea of emotion, we have to really be open and flexible, and equally be teachable, because sometimes it's because we are so rigid and we don't think that some other person can propose an idea which can be a workable idea, of course. So we need to be open-minded, flexible, and equally accept corrections. I think with that, emotion can be dealt with somehow, because some people really are so strict. Strict is good, of course, but you can be strict but flexible. I think if we work on emotions like that, by accepting our flaws and accepting correction, we will go a long way.
Mhm. What do you think, Maxwell? Accepting corrections, and this, please, I want the conversation to really be a conversation of partnering with other institutions, right?
Mhm.
Not the institution which you are, but also other institutions. Say, let's say, like we are doing now, collaborating with someone who is in another institution, right? So, and Mr. Elvis says that it's so important to train our emotions, to accept corrections, and to accept to have this teachable spirit, so that we can actually learn and grow together. What do you think, Maxwell?
Yeah, I think I agree with Mr. Mboifo. But maybe the most important thing is the attitude also. The attitude plays a role in collaboration. Because if the other institution is given a bad attitude, or maybe when that maybe, for example, I'm in a certain institution, then I want to engage the other institution, then whenever I want to have that conversation, or when I want to engage with them, then the attitude is bad. In no way will I continue with such an engagement, or a conversation. So there should be some level playing ground between the two institutions. Both they need to benefit. We are striking a deal that both of you needs to benefit. So maybe the other thing as well is maybe tolerance. Yeah. So the things that maybe you don't believe in, that the other institution take serious, or maybe they take them so serious. But at the end of the point, we all have got things that we can tolerate and things that we cannot tolerate. But because we are from the different backgrounds, we should always leave a room for tolerance. At least there are things that we can tolerate for partnership to work. For example, maybe me, I don't believe in having a partner that maybe is alcoholic or anything, but maybe just for a common good. If I see this won't affect my business or won't affect anything, maybe I can have a room for tolerance. That's what I think.
Thank you for the word you have thrown on the table, tolerance. Tolerance. Goethe was a poet, a German poet, who said that we have to go away from tolerance and come into the point of acceptance. Because when we talk about tolerance, tolerance means that I can actually criticize you, because I just have to tolerate you the way you are. But acceptance means that I can criticize and give you feedback, constructive criticism, and give you feedbacks. So I think that going from his definition, if we have to stay on tolerance alone, which is also okay, then we only have to tolerate his attitude, tolerate his way of doing, tolerate his emotions, but then it doesn't give us room to have this feedback that Mr. Bolifor Elvis was saying. Because for us to have that feedback, constructive feedback, then there must be room for acceptance, right? Now, my last question that really triggers me is a question of win-win. most of the time I hear this conversation, we have to have a win-win, equal win-win situation before we can collaborate. What do you think, Mr. Bolifo? Is there really such things like equal win-win um, possibility for before collaboration?
I
What
think
is that win-win?
when I was talking about collaboration in my first submission, I talked of a symbiotic relationship. A symbiotic relationship doesn't mean that everybody has the same portion or the same percentage of dividend, if I put it that way. Win-win is good, but you may not be, interfering at the same level, and so you don't expect to have the same, a share of what comes out of the deal. That is why you hear somebody strikes a deal with another company, and you hear 20-80. The person who is, sponsoring the operation obviously is taking much risk, and maybe you are just supplying or your services. You won't expect to have a win-win of 50-50, and that is equally where the problem arises with collaboration, where somebody is giving in little, but he is the one who wants the lion's share of what is going to be gotten from that deal, and so collaboration becomes difficult. So we should be able to, evaluate what we are giving in and equally wait to get that type of benefits coming. You don't put in little and you expect that you get more than the person who has taken much risk for that deal to go through. I think win-win, business or collaboration, it must not always be 50-50. Like I said, in a symbiotic relationship, I am talking with my field of influence. Somebody can be there and he doesn't even care whether you how much you make, but so long as he survives on you and gets his own share, he may not even be depending on what you will get, but he has his own smaller business under you that keeps him comfortable while you are supplying the capital and going. He has his small thing, maybe it's just security, and he is okay. He doesn't care how much you are making. So that is how I look at it. Win-win, good, but it must not be the same proportion. I think that is my take.
Thank you so very much. This is so amazing, a very intensive conversation because some years back, or I've observed that also in the community, and I hear that a lot. People talking about win-win and win-win, and I'm always curious to find out what do they really understand by or mean by win-win. So let's take a case study. Maxwell, I have started up an academy, and the academy is doing very well. And I say, okay, in my academy, I'm going to offer you teachers 30%. So it means you have to create a course, right? You create a course, um, and then you bring the course, and the assignment of the academy is to do the marketing, do the branding, do the sales, and also assist you in all that. And of course, you two have to do the work, right? And but your main work is to produce your course, and you have 30%, right? Can you explain, is there a win-win in that kind of collaboration? I'm just curious.
So interesting. I like Mr. Boyfo's approach to this matter. The community in the community, people always think about win-win situation. In real life, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. What people expect in a deal that they call it a win-win situation is me, I put something, or maybe me, I put maybe 60% of my shares, and the other one puts 20% of the shares, and then the profit that is going to be made, and someone expects to share equally. How? It doesn't exist like that. It doesn't exist. But
No,
this
but we
is
have a problem. Master, we have a problem because most of the time the people think they are overqualified. They already are standard. I mean, you come from they come from the
mm,
aspect that they are very qualified. It is my knowledge, and therefore I can do choose to give it to whom I want to give. So they come with that mindset. Hey, wait a minute. This is my idea or my knowledge. This is my intelligence. And therefore, no, sir, or no, ma'am, I want a win-win. I want a 50-50% gain. So how do we work on that?
It's quite I'll call it it's quite sad, and this is the reason why a lot of people don't want to work with others, because an idea on its own, it doesn't generate anything, but what you put into, okay, you might have a very good idea, but
Oh,
if
I
you
like this
don't,
conversation. Mm-hmm.
you might have a good idea, but if you don't have resources, you don't have maybe things to put in, how is it going to thrive? How is it going to come to pass? So you bring your idea, you say, okay, um I have this idea, maybe if we do this and this and this, but I don't have what resources. Madam Vera, could you join me? And then you say, oh well, this sounds good, I'm going to join you, I'm going to put maybe 70% of the shares. Then I say, oh, okay, 70%. Then my remaining percent is 30. Okay. That doesn't guarantee me getting an equal share with you because I brought in the idea or anything. My idea doesn't buy shares. What buys shares are resources. So if I don't have the resources, even if I've got an idea, it's not going to work. I'm going to get
I
it's not
like.
going to work.
I just like the conversation because it's
Yeah,
really
let
exposing
me say
something.
something. Yeah, let me say something. I
Yes,
think
sir.
the win-win issue becomes so complicated and selfish. Let me use that word. When you have somebody, because when you talk, I want to know where you're coming from. Somebody is supplying 100% of the shares or the finances for the project, and the
Mm-hmm,
person who is just bringing the services or the idea is wanting
mm-hmm,
a 50%. That is
mm-hmm.
ridiculous. You really just think that you play on people's mentality. It doesn't work like that. I said symbiotic relationship, anybody benefits, but then it depends on your input, what you have brought in, and the risk equally, because this is entrepreneurship that you are doing. You're taking a risk to invest in something that you don't even know how the outcome would be, but you are hoping for the best while expecting the worst.
Oh, this is a very interesting conversation. Let me salute our people out there listening to us, ladies and gentlemen. This has been also a very interesting conversation, learning to collaborate and networking with one another despite racism, despite tribalism, despite our differences. And the question was how. We get back to the discussion after a very short jingle. So we are back again. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to the Sampon Global TV on YouTube and to the Sampon Social Services on Facebook. You're welcome. This is your platform, and the intention of our work is to support one another, is to create that atmosphere that we can grow together because you are not alone and we cannot build our continent or again our community working alone. And we have observed that in the community we have a whole lot of drama going on, challenges going on, people having the feelings of not being able to work hand in hand. And this has really preoccupied me this last days to understand exactly what is the challenge. And we realize that we all understand the differences, the reasons why people do not want to work together. And so today we wanted to focus on the how we can work together. And so far, our panelists have said it is important to build trust, and that only trust can really bring that working atmosphere, collaborating together. And now we went also further to say a good communication can enhance the trust. And Mr. Bodiford said that delegation can also enhance the working together, so that you don't do all the work as a manager or an CEO, or again the cheerleader, the chairperson, that you do not do all the work, but that you can delegate the work. And so we are coming almost to the end of the conversation to understand that working together is possible. We have chosen to be on the empowering position, knowing that it is well able and we are well able to work together. And because we know that our thought produces the feelings that we have, those emotions, and those emotions produces also the actions. This actions becomes the result. And because we want to promote working together, supporting one another, that's why we are having this conversation on how to properly work together. Sirs, you have your last word to tell us, an empowering statement. How can we do this? How can we make it possible? That which you've not yet said, you can now say it. I start with you, Mr. Bolifor.
Okay, I
Tell
was
tell
just
the
smiling when
people,
you
tell the
talked of
people.
last empowering word.
Yes.
Yeah, I think in collaboration, we already talked of communication. You have to be able to listen to one another and talk later, because sometimes collaboration doesn't flow because the person who thinks that he is a big one doesn't want to listen to anybody, even when they want to tell that something is going wrong. And you equally have to set ground rules and goals in order for collaboration to move properly. And I looked at leading equally by examples. You should not want things to go well and you are not even there to set the pace for things to go well. And my last point on that will be flexible. I think flexibility will make collaboration really enjoyable.
Be flexible is a wonderful word. Thank you so very much, Mr. Bolifor. Always a pleasure to have you. Mr. Maxwell, give us your empowering statement. How can we collaborate together?
So today I'm going to tell everyone who is listening, don't be scared of collaboration. It does work. We just need to have a common goal. They say no man is an island. We can only make it together. So togetherness is the way to go. Try it out and do not regret. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sirs. Thank you very much, Mr. Bolifo. Thank you very much, Mr. Maxwell. Stay tuned. And we have come, ladies and gentlemen, almost to the end of our program. And concluding a statement is that collaborating with one another, with organizations, with institutions, is so well possible. And we only have to, first of all, work on our attitude. Work on your attitude, because your attitude will determine how far you can collaborate. Secondly, be resourceful. Understand the importance of coming together, because when we join our knowledge, our companies together in one particular project, then we reduce and avoid wasting resources in form of personnel, in form of cash and all that. So learn to be more resourceful. And then it's also important, like our partner said, to delegate. And delegation comes only when we can trust one another. Then we also understood how important trust is. So trust is also a very important instrument. And how can we trust? Mr. Bolifo said we just need to start somewhere. And then also we have to take away the idea that we have to have a win-win approach, a win-win collaboration. Because if someone brings in the resources and you bring in your idea, remember remember, your idea alone cannot produce the results you're looking for. Therefore, like Mr. Bolifor said, become more flexible, knowing, understanding the common goal, understanding where we are standing, and understanding that we have to learn also to constructively criticize one another, which is not often done in our community. Ladies and gentlemen, an hour goes so fast, and it's always a privilege. Make sure you share the link with your friends. I know you have partners out there. Share the links with them and encourage someone. Take this assignment with you. Make sure next week or the next days coming ahead, if you are an organization, if you're working for yourself, please make it a date to look for someone with whom you're going to collaborate and be purposeful about it so that that collaboration works, because I know it is possible. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I have been your host, and my name is Vera Sompon. Bye bye.